the size of the island and everything else, and it was just concrete. But then, when I went there for the opening of the hotel, I must say I was very impressed because the landscaping had been done and it was back to being a green island. The villas were, but it was way before my time.
Yes,
way
but it was
before.
completed during your tenure.
It was completed.
And you
during
did not interfere with that one.
No,
Okay.
I was not. I was not involved in anything. Anything to.
Okay.
To
We
do.
are moving on now to something else.
But again, maybe just before we, on the issue of order, giving orders, and everything else. I just want to, with your permission, I want to give you what I would consider to be an executive order or a domination. And here I go to the second stop notice. I'm sure you'll be coming to that,
Yes.
but
I
just
will. I want to try and keep the topics
Okay.
different.
Yes,
you
maybe.
you can express that when we get to that part.
okay, okay,
I will also give you time at the end to say
Okay.
anything that you wish to add, Mr. Nkarawan.
okay.
Okay? I'm going to be
Okay.
very fair to
Okay,
you,
let's
as I
say-
have been to all the witnesses. I'll give you a time
Okay.
to say whatever else you want
Thank
to
you
say.
very much.
Okay?
Okay,
But I'd be grateful if you followed my train of thoughts.
okay, I will.
So look at COI 7. It's a flight manifest dated 15 June 2025.
Mhm.
Can you tell us the objective of that visit?
It's dated 15th June. Yes, it's 15th June 2025.
Correct.
Yes.
It's just after the first stop notice.
Yes. Just a second. Sorry.
It's okay. Take your time.
See later. Okay. Yes. For that second visit,
Mhm. What was the objective?
the objective was to see how the development was going on, because by then the construction had begun. So the first visit was before anything had been done, and the second visit was to see what was happening there,
How the construction was
how
going?
the construction was going.
Is it not true that during that visit, you also guaranteed that GOPs required for the construction would be expedited?
No, I did not. I was never involved in GOPs. And in fact, Madam Chair, you will recall that during the visit of President Emini, in his visit to Assomption, that topic came up, and Mr. Leone made an accusation against me and said that I was putting, I put pressure on planning and other authorities, because there was this discussion on the number of workers who were there. And when the media came back, they called planning, and they called Madame Law again. And planning.
But she's not, Madame Law isn't in planning.
No, she was on the planning authority. She was on the planning authority then, when the number of workers were increased, because for them to get workers and everything else, environment had to be involved.
Yes,
Remember?
for that side,
Yes,
yes.
but Mr. Leone made a direct accusation on me, and this is this is on the media. which I'm sure.
My question is just about the fact that you expedited GOPs for
No,
the
There
construction.
was no way I could do that.
Could you look at COI 8 and look at the second page and the part that I've highlighted, which is the minutes of the IDC and UCC being the other construction company on Assomption. The minutes dated 17th of June confirm that you had promised to expedite the GOPs.
No, but
You had promised Cyril Bonlam you were going to expedite the GOPs.
no. There is something that we need to understand. IDC had already been given the number of workers that would be allowed on the island. And so it was a question of them getting the workers. So if you had already agreed that 400 workers would be on the island, and they had 200, and they were looking for the other 200, the only thing that I said was, I would speak to the relevant minister and say, what is happening? And to see whether these GOPs, it was not breaking the law or asking for anything extra, but just to say, look, out there, this is the condition. It's harsh condition. They need the extra workers because they would, and I saw all these things. They would put, as they were building, and I'm sure this is what you also saw, everything had gone symphony within
Had already rusted.
rusted within a week.
Yeah.
So basically, I took into consideration the problems that they were facing, and this is why Mr. Bonlam says that. I understood the issue, and the minister, who doesn't know, I would say to the minister, look, la badéo, la zot besoin, ça man travailler. Nous pas faire donc zot travailler en plus, mais d'après les autres conditions. Okay?
So
Not
you
asking to-
you don't deny that you, because both the Ministries of Employment and Immigration stated that they received instructions directly from the top to ensure that the GOPs were granted.
Yes, because this was part of the, I mean, these were workers. It was not exceeding their quota.
Okay.
It was within the quota, just to ensure that they got the workers. That's it.
Perhaps just for the public, I don't think people know what the conditions were like on Assomption. Could you tell the public what the conditions are like in Assomption?
Peut-être premier quelque chose qui est important pour dire.
This was June. It was the middle of the monsoon.
Middle of the month. Assomption, il y a une île.
Assomption is an island.
Côte Fodé, Paris nous dit encore, on a fiel pour rester là.
It means we must have spleen to stay there.
Et à cause,
Why?
pas de vent suite,
During the southeast monsoon,
l'endroit plus harsh, il gagne taper avec sa vent
it
suite
is
qui
the
est
harshest
rough.
place. Everything that is rough hits the island.
Et pendant vent nord,
During the northwest monsoon,
il y a aussi saison cyclone.
it's also the cyclonic
Et
time.
alors, il gagne taper pas de vent suite et pas de vent nord.
It gets hit in the southeast monsoon and during the northwest monsoon.
Et l'état moment tu peux visiter, si vous pouvez faire construction,
And when I visited, if you're doing construction,
après qu'on mette ferraille,
after you've put the iron rods in,
within une semaine,
within a week,
il rouille.
it is absolutely rusted.
So, au besoin de temps, on peut travailler vite.
You have to work very fast.
Et c'est pour sa raison
And this is why,
avec ban GOP, qui peut encore
after
un
GOPs
process,
that had not been processed,
moi tu vois ali comment une nécessité
I saw it as a necessity
pour nous
to expedite,
gagner sa ban
to get
GOP,
these, to
pour
get
qui sa ban
these
travailler
GOPs
là-bas, pour faire
expedited
sa
so that the
travail.
workers could go there. Thank you. Now we move to something else. Okay, another hat that you held. In your position as president, you're also patron of an organization known as the Seychelles Island Foundation.
Yes.
What does it mean to be the patron of a foundation?
Well, basically, first of all, it's the responsibility of the patron to, well, as president, to appoint the board members, the trustees, as they are called, to get the right people the environment experts and others who show interest. That's one. Secondly, SIF, mainly Aldabra, Vallée du Mai, and now Fonferdinand. To ensure, well, I attended 2 board meetings, one held on Aldabra and one held at Fonferdinand, to give the encouragement. As patron, you give the encouragement, and when they come with projects, like, for example, the project to eliminate cats and rats, you give the encouragement, and if there is anything you can do as head of state, maybe to get some sponsorship, you would do that. But for the case of dératisation, catisation, I was not. Because they did that on their own.
Yeah. So I'm correct to say that the SIF's role was for the conservation and protection of the UNESCO protected Aldabra Island.
Yes,
that part of
Aldabra and Vallée du Mai. In fact, the SIF is in charge of 2 World Heritage sites.
I am concerned with the Assomption.
Okay.
That's what I'm talking about. And I'm also correct to say that Assomption is only a short distance from Aldabra.
Oh yes,
and it actually forms part of the Aldabra group of islands.
Yes, 21, same distance as my.
You would agree with me that during the time that you were patron, during the whole of 2024, SIF had repeatedly opposed the development on Assomption,
Oh yes.
and had in fact advocated a halt to the development
Yes.
until the biosecurity risks had been thoroughly assessed.
Yes. SIF was against the project. And this was outlined, they had press conferences. But as patron, I stayed out of it and I allowed them to express themselves.
And you also know that they did not feel they had the capacity to do, like you described before, like ICS had done. What do you call them? ESIAs or biosecurity risks and assessments.
Well, they didn't have the people, but of course they had all the experts who knew everything that needed to be done.
But they didn't have the complement of staff, the capacity to actually carry out ESIAs.
Yeah, and this is because of finance.
And the next document is COI 9, which is your speech.
State of the Nation.
Yes, State of the Nation. You have that with you? Or do you want to have a copy?
Do.
You have it with you here? There?
I have it.
Okay. Yeah. So can you go to page 18? I have the English version, so I don't know which version you have.
Well, I have the extract, but give it to me.
Yeah.
I have the
You have it
relevant.
in Creole? Have you got it in Creole or in English? I have it in English.
No, I also have it
In English?
in English. There have been several concerns.
Okay, could you read out the highlighted part on page 18, which you did as addressed the situation as patron of SIF?
Yes. Where I say there have been several concerns in relation to the proximity to Aldabra, a World Heritage Site with a fragile biodiversity. People in the environmental sector, especially the Seychelles Islands Foundations and others, have presented their views on this development. In this context, and conscious of my role as SIF patron, I have engaged with SIF, the Seychelles, the Islands Development Company, and the developer of the project on Assomption. The direction that this conversation is taking, this is my emphasis, is taking, is that SIF, IDC, and the developer will agree that SIF will be in charge of all biosecurity matters on Assumption. They will be the ones to control Assumption at this level, and the developers will pay SIF to do this work. In this way, Aldabra will receive full protection, and the biodiversity of Assumption itself will be protected as everyone wants. I want us to get a win-win-win result.
Is it not true that at that time ICS was under a valid legal contract to perform the services that you made in this announcement?
I do not know. I do not know. No. No.
We talked about it earlier.
That, well, they were doing
The biosecurity.
the biosecurity, the EIA.
They had a contract.
No, the contract. I know that they did the EIA.
They had a contract.
But I do not know about the contract. No, I do not. I did not know that.
We have heard from multiple witnesses that when you made that SONA announcement,
Mhm.
the decision that you mentioned in SONA had only been announced to some members of the board the day before without consulting SIF scientific team about their capacity to perform these
SIF?
duties.
No, Madam Commissioner, I heard Frauke, Dr. Dogley, say this, but Mrs. Frauke must have forgotten some of the things, because in the minutes of the let me give you, I will actually quote from okay, the board meeting of at the board meeting of the SIF
Did.
on the 15th of February 2025. And remember, my State of the Nation was on the 27th of February. The minutes recorded as follows. Assumption development. The CEO and deputy CEO met with the new CEO of IDC and discussed existing and future collaborations.
That was a task force, wasn't it, that was set up?
I wouldn't know.
So there was, at that time, there had been a task force had been set up between IDC, ICS, and as to manage the difficulties that were occurring.
I was not aware of the task force, but I'll just continue with the minutes. The position of SIF remains unchanged in relation to the proposed hotel development on Assumption. SIF has received a request to consider management of the environmental and biosecurity aspect of Assumption Island. Decision, SIF to decide on the request received. So this is why, the SIF was already aware of the direction of the conversation. So for Mrs. Dogley to say, in fact, she even said that she was shocked.
Were you at that meeting?
No, I got the minutes.
Were at that
as
meeting?
a patron, I could ask
Yeah.
for anything, and
We understand they were not consulted about taking the task that you said in the SONA they were to perform. And also the witnesses from the developer side, they've also testified that they were not consulted in making this decision, but rather they were obliged to accept this decision
Yes,
because you were head of state.
I heard Mr. Omar say this.
He wasn't
day
the only
before.
one who said it. Mr.
Yes.
Abid Butt said it as well.
Yes, but you know why I had to intervene at that point? Because they were just moving from one point to the other, and in the meantime, I was concerned about the biosecurity on Assumption. So I said, look, you need to do something because materials were being brought to Assumption Island. Everything was moving and there was nothing happening.
So you had sent the proposal to SIF?
Yes, yes.
Through Bernard George?
Through Bernard, yes. And in fact, Madam Chair, Madam Commissioner, this is why in my State of the Nation, I said the direction that this conversation is taking, there was a conversation, an ongoing conversation. Nothing had been agreed on.
Yeah, that might have been your impression, but the impression of everybody else was when the sonar was made, it was a fait accompli that they had to take on this role, even though it had not been discussed with them.
No, I would disagree with that, because I said that the direction that this conversation is taking.
But can I also ask you that at the making of that statement in SONA, you had actually no legal capacity to invalidate the contract between ICS and the Assets Group. You had no capacity to contract on behalf of SIF and the Assets Group, even as patron of SIF. Why did you do this?
Well, the conversation was, I was not involved in the conversation. The IDC was involved with the developers, Assets Group. I mean, it would have been the responsibility of the IDC to say, look, we already have a contract, but the IDC never mentioned that. And they should have pointed this out.
Why did you pick SIF?
Okay, I picked SIF because SIF is the one responsible for Aldebra. And they have the experts, and I don't know whether you've been to Aldebra. I mean, the procedures before you land on Aldebra, the biosecurity procedures is, I mean, so Assumption would be a danger to SIF, to Assumption, Aldebra. Therefore, they would be the best ones to manage, because part of the idea of having the hotel there would be to open up Aldebra a little bit more. So they would be in a better position. And
yeah, but they had repeatedly said that they couldn't, Mr. Ramkalawan. That's the difficulty.
No, they have not said they couldn't.
But it's minuted.
Well, if they said it.
But you were the patron. I mean, you
the,
seem to have been selective in the minutes that you picked. There are all the minutes where they said they did not have the capacity to do this.
No, they never. They
never communicated that to you?
They never communicated
that they had no capacity to do this?
In fact, at the board meeting at Fonferdinand, when I went there and to encourage, I mean, at the same time to meet the other board members, they discussed what they needed to carry out the work. And yes, they pointed out that they needed extra staff and everything else. But again, the direction that they agreed to take on the responsibility to beef up their capacity.
We understand they didn't, and in fact,
but they never communicated that.
Would you agree with me? You received a letter from ICS after this,
yes,
asking why they had been basically pushed on the side.
Yes, Mr. Burke wrote to me.
And Mr. Skerritt?
Mr. Skerritt, I don't recall Mr. Skerritt.
He did.
But then at the same time,
on behalf of ICS, he was the chair of ICS at the time.
Yes, in fact, what I also said in my State of the Nation address was I wanted the Aldebra group, Cosmoledo, Astov, Assumption, and to be a protected area, okay, to be a totally protected area, and that I would even push to have a constitutional amendment to include that. These were all the things that I said, and I wanted to give...
It's on SONA.
Yes, it's on SONA. I remember that. And I wanted to give SIF the full responsibility of the Aldebra group.
Yeah.
This was part of the thinking.
But you see, Mr. Ramkalawan, the difficulty is this: you seem to be controlling everything. You don't seem to be allowing the different ministries, the different NGOs to perform their work to the best of their ability and based on their scientific expertise, capacities, and capabilities. This is the difficulty.
No.
And this is why we have arrived at this stage.
No. Everybody was free to fulfill their responsibilities, and in fact, environment, nothing stopped them from doing their.
If orders are coming from the president,
No.
People tend to be chilled by it and say, I'm going to do what the president tells me. That's what people do, Mr. Ramkalawan.
Well, people may tend to do this, I agree with you, but this was not, because after all, didn't the environment, through planning, issue a stop notice?
Which was lifted 5 days later, very fast, even though the conditions were not met.
And what do I have to do with that?
No, you raised the point, I didn't.
No, I'm just telling you that even though it was lifted 4 days later, it had nothing to do with me. When you read the letters, they did everything that, the reasons they gave was that the conditions that they were seeking and to have the stop notice had been fulfilled.
Okay, I'm going to move on to something else now. Thank you. Did you and your vice president meet with representatives of the developers, often along with Mr. Georges, at State House and at L'Escale Hotel?
No.
Never?
I'll tell you. I'll give you what happened.
No, you said no, so I had to ask you.
No, when you said often, not often.
Mm-hmm. How many times?
With the developers at State House, I met once when together with Mr. George and IDC, when we were discussing the very issue we have just talked about. Dinner, I was invited a couple of times. And
You saw Sonia a couple of times?
yes, at those dinners.
At L'Escale?
At L'Escale,
Mhm.
yes. Mr. Omar invited me. And at all the dinners, there was, once Mr. George was not there, a couple of times, but it was mainly Mr. Omar, Mr. Butt, and Mr. Bonna.
Mm-hmm.
These three people.
Who paid for the
Plus-
dinners?
They paid. They invited me.
Did you discuss the hotel development on Assomption?
Well, of course, it was part of the conversation. They had an ongoing project, and they would mention the development, some of the delays that they were getting, and what the aspirations were. This was normal.
You found that normal?
I found it normal
Mhm.
because yes, I found it normal, but no decisions. It was not a decision-making dinner.
During your presidency, did your government host events at L'Escale?
The government,
Your government.
there was the one event that I remember was the CGSOE event that was organized by CGSOE.
Anything else?
There was the launch of a program by UNDP. I'm just thinking of government. These were the two that I remember.
Did the government itself host any events?
At Escal?
Mhm.
No.
Okay. Did your political party, LDS,
Yes.
also hold meetings at
Yes.
L'Escale? Including making party political recordings, holding cocktail events and parties in the run-up to the
Yes,
election?
I can give you the events that we had there, which we paid for. We had We had a youth event. Okay, we had a youth event. We had a youth event, which we paid for. We had a lunch for all the candidates before the elections, which again we paid for. The recordings of the party political broadcasts, again, which was covered for. These were the three events.
Can you provide us with the bank statements and the receipts of these events?
Oh yes.
So we'll ask you to send that to the Commission.
Yes, I'll get the treasurer to.
Is it
forward
not correct that the developer holds an interest in Lescal?
Yes, it's known to be an investment for the Qataris.
Yes. Same Qataris who are building the hotel in Assomption.
Yes.
Okay.
And the only reason why we went there, because we had, take for example the youth event. We had two youth events, one for the south and one for the northern districts. And we felt that Escal was more central, and for the activity to be held for the, because it was from Assomption to the north, so Escal was more central.
Did they not give you favorable rates?
I did not negotiate any rates with them.
Who negotiated it?
Well, they sent their bill. And we
To
paid.
whom?
To
Who
the
organized?
treasurer.
Who's the treasurer?
Treasurer is Mrs. Devika Vidot.
Thank you.
And there was another part of your question. Okay, so
The interest they hold in Lescal.
yes, but it had nothing to do. I mean, there are many activities that are held at Escal. In fact, even the new government had activities like. Oh, then maybe I can also add that there was one other event that was organized by government, was the diplomatic cocktail. There was a diplomatic, I can't remember the dates, but this was organized by Foreign Affairs, so Foreign Affairs will give you the details of that.
Can I have CO11? You see, Mr. Ramkalawan, we have evidence to show that this relationship with Lescal as being part of the Qatari group goes back a long way. It goes back to the time when the expression of interest for Assomption, it was known to you. It was known to everybody.
Give me the proof.
Derek Barbe, as the manager of Lescal, all right, was the go-between on many occasions, and this is one of the occasions, between Lescal and the Assets Group that were developing the hotel in Assomption. In that email, he's asking for a digital copy to be forwarded to the Assets Group from Mr. Christian Leone as far back as June 2023, 5th of June 2023.
Yeah, the expression had already been issued.
Yeah.
And this is between Leone and Barbe. And
You didn't know
No,
about the relationship between the Qatari interests in Lescal?
no,
You did not know that Devika Vidot had also met the Qataris a long time before the expression of interest was published?
no,
At all?
no,
Okay.
no. What happens between Christian Leone and Barbe has nothing
And
to do.
Devika Vidot and the Qataris also?
No,
No?
no.
All right. Did you personally solicit a gift from the Assets Group of $3 million for the purpose of the FIFA Beach Football World Cup?
It was during one of the dinners. We were talking about what was happening, and I was expressing my concern because Elvis Shetty had let us down badly, and we're talking about the event, and they said they would take it up, and then they sent a message saying that they would be willing to help. And the minute they said that, because I just want you to know that there was at State House we were having weekly meetings when we realized that we were running
Yeah.
out of time.
How much did the Qataris say they'd put in?
They discussed with finance. In fact, it was the PS Finance who was responsible for that, and the amount was 3 million
Okay.
USD.
Can you look at your SONA, page 19 of your SONA? I've highlighted it.
Mhm.
Could you read the excerpt?
Okay, the government has had to invest, but here I would like to thank two organizations that have donated 5 million to ensure that everything goes well. These are some of the actions I take when I travel. I make sure I return with more than my travel budget.
Who are these two organizations that gave
The
5 million
two-
towards FIFA?
Okay, the two organizations, one was the Assets Group that offered 3 million, and which they, I mean, PS Tamatav gave you the details. And the second organization was Etihad, Etihad Airways, from the UAE.
She did not produce that. That's why we're trying to find out what is the 2 million from.
The 2 million is from...
And who was the 2 million paid into the consolidated funds?
No, apparently, and this is something that is still going on, Etihad could not be granted rights, because when they discussed with Ian Riley, who was in charge of the local organizing committee, because FIFA has a special relationship with Qatar Airways, Etihad could not get the publicity. But what Etihad said was that they would be willing to give the money in order for them to get the naming rights for the arena to be called Etihad Arena.
I think
And-
Tamatav said it was a pledge.
It was a pledge, but they were still discussing.
Okay.
The 2 million was never transferred, were never transferred to
I wanted you to explain the discrepancy because she spoke about 3 million and in your SONA
Yes.
you said 5 million.
that's the 5 million.
Okay.
2 million from 2 million, this was, I was...
Three.
No, Assets 3 and Etihad 2. And they are still discussing.
Did you also ask them to provide assistance with barging 3,000 metric tons of ginseng from Assomption to Mahe for the FIFA beach?
These were paid. Through the IDC.
No, but you
No.
used their barges.
Well, they had the barges that
So
could
they had
carry
to
the
pay.
sand.
They had to pay for it.
Yes, and the local organizing committee paid for the transportation.
Did you ask the developers of Assomption for any other gifts, personal or otherwise?
No.
Okay. Mr. Ramkalawan, the next set of questions refers to you personally
Okay.
and in terms of some personal matters. You have the choice for me to take this in camera because some of it is quite personal.
No, go ahead.
I just give you the opportunity.
Okay.
Okay, because
Simon,
I find it difficult as well to ask you these questions, but I have
Ask
to
me.
ask you.
ask me.
And this is in terms of 3.7 of our terms of reference, in terms of transparency, legality, and financial probity. Okay? Is it not correct that the public service orders permit the payment of a per diem for the president and his entourage for presidential overseas trips?
Yes.
We are informed by State House Human Resources that these per diems are paid upon documentation supporting the travel.
Yes.
is it not correct that ordinarily, when you travel for official purposes, you are attended by a security officer, a protocol officer, a press secretary, and other representatives from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs or other ministries?
It all depends. It all depends.
We have received documentation from State House Protocol, as well as the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, detailing your foreign travel during the years. I'm only concerned with 2023 to 2025, which is during the time that the Qataris, the Assets Group, were building the hotel. There are several payments of per diems for your trips that have the following features. The per diems are paid solely on the basis of a memo from the Chief Protocol Officer.
From Mr. Jonathan Bailey.
To HR, informing HR of the dates of travel, with no other supporting documentation.
Yes.
On these trips, you were accompanied only by your security officer, Mr. Anil Bristol, without protocol or the press.
Mm-hmm.
There are no reports of the trips filed with State House or Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
No.
No itineraries, no flight details or accommodation information, and the request do not indicate who paid for your accommodation or flights. Correct?
Yes.
You agree with me?
Yes, I agree with you.
Okay. I am going to go through, in 2023, there were 5 of these trips.
Okay.
15th to the 21st of March
I will not recall.
to the UAE,
dates.
20th to the 25th of April to Turkey, the 9th to the 13th of May to Abu Dhabi, the 6th to the 10th of July to UAE, where I'm not sure, but the 9th to 13th of May is specified Abu Dhabi, the 15th to the 19th of October UAE.
Yes.
You remember these, or
Yes.
would you like to see
Yes,
the?
I will. I will not remember the exact dates, but let me explain something.
Let me just finish, and
Okay,
then I'll
okay.
give you the chance to
Mhm.
answer. So, for all of these trips, there would be a memo raised by Mr. Belwi, and he would state the President of the Republic, Mr. Weveram Kalawan, will proceed to an official mission that is to be held on, and he gave the dates, and just UAE, and the delegation will comprise of the following: President
Mhm.
Weveram Kalawan and Mr. Anil Bristol.
Yes.
And then grateful if the per diems could be issued as per the itinerary.
Yes.
And the itinerary would be just the dates that were given.
Yes.
And then there would be a letter from Human Resources in which they advise that they have paid a subsistence allowance into your bank account. And sometimes those outfit allowance given. What were these trips for?
Okay. Let me explain something, and I think Minister Radigon, I still call him Minister, Sylvestre, explained certain things, and it's mainly to do with the UAE, and this is something that we have to understand, and this continues to this day. The UAE, when they invite you, or when they tell you to come to the UAE for a particular reason, be it to discuss a project, be it the death, for example, two members of the royal family passed away during of the UAE royal family passed away. One was Sheikh Khalifa, and the other one was the brother of Sheikh Mohammed. They will pay for the ticket and also the accommodation. So this is why you will not see tickets and tickets or accommodation. And even though State House, under the President's office, has a budget for travel, there will be nothing withdrawn from there.
And if I may add, the
Mhm.
same happened on the 3rd to the 6th of March 2024, the 4th to the 7th August 2024, the 20th to 24th of August 2024, the 20th to 24th of October 2024, the 26th to the 28th of December 2024, the 28th February to the 3rd of March 2025, the 2nd to the 3rd of April 2025, the 24th, 27th of May, 2025, the 16th of 19th of July, 2025, the 23rd to the 25th of October, 2025. And in the documentation, it talks about high-level meetings only.
Yes.
So what were these high-level meetings?
A lot of the meetings had to do with projects. Projects that were...
Sometimes they were 4 days, sometimes for a week at a time, Mr. Ramkalawan.
Yes, and this is the thing, and I'm sure even the current administration will face this. For example, when in January, I'm sure. What January dates do you have? January or February?
Of 25?
Of 25.
28th February to 3rd of March.
Okay. This would be the World Government Summit.
No, I have those. These are documented, Mr. Ramkalawan. All the official visits you carried out, I have official documents with the note verbal inviting you, or with invitations. Okay. The ones I've mentioned to you, all the trips I've mentioned to you, there is no documentation, there is no mission report, there is nothing. So if you could have gone there with Mr. Anil Bristol and been shot, nobody would have known what you were there for, where you were.
Madam Commissioner, you will notice that all those trips are to the UAE.
No, not all of them.
Only one to Turkey.
No, but we don't know because we were told, and we have testimony that you transferred from UAE, Mr. Ramkalawan.
Yes, once. Yes.
Once or twice?
I know what you're talking about. But what I want you to know is this is particularly to do with one country, the UAE. And you have to understand how this works.
I want you to tell me how many times you transited to Doha.
Transited
Qatar.
to Doha?
Mm-hmm.
Twice.
What was the purpose of these meetings?
The first one was for the...
No, I've named you about 15.
To Doha?
No.
No.
Of going to UAE.
No. Going to the UAE.
What were the purpose of these meetings?
To beg.
Why is it not supported by documentation?
Because
to beg for yourself? If you beg for the state and got a grant, it would be documented in the mission report.
You have... I see your line of questioning, but...
I'm trying to see your line of answers.
Okay, Sheikh Khalifa dies.
That is a state matter, just like when King Charles became king, or when Queen Elizabeth died. It's documented. You went for a funeral.
Yes, but when Sheikh Khalifa, for example, I'm giving you an example.
One example.
Yes, but I'll give you other examples. When Sheikh Khalifa died, I called to present my condolences, and the next was, it would be good if you came. There was no note verbal or anything. It was, it would be good for you to come, and I went.
That's not how heads of state operate, Mr. Ramkalawan, especially if you're claiming per diems. If you're claiming per diems, it means you are representing Seychelles. Yes. Not on your own.
Yes, but when I went there, it was to
there
represent
is no
Seychelles.
supporting documentation.
Okay. But yeah, if you're looking for that,
so
then this is how it was
that's
done.
That's one meeting. What were the other meetings for?
Other meetings were to deal with other interests of the country.
Like? Give me a few examples. Because it's not documented.
West Coast project.
Where is the documentation?
Well, we will agree to disagree. Okay? We will agree
about what? I'm trying to get the information from you.
Okay. These visits were in my capacity as president. That's my answer. And
as president, you represent the Seychelles. You don't represent Wavell Ramkalawan, you represent the Seychelles. Okay? What did the Seychelles pay you to go there to do?
This has got nothing to do with Assumption.
Did I say Assomption?
I'm telling you, this was in my capacity as president. Thank you. I will not answer further on
Right.
this.
So do you have documentation to support everything you've said today relating to these trips?
No.
Which account, how about your plane tickets? Have you got those?
Plane tickets?
Mhm.
Yes, everything.
So you can send this to us?
Paid for by the UAE? Yes. I'll send them to you.
How about your WhatsApps? Did they contact you by WhatsApps or by email saying, come, Mr. Ramkalawan?
Well, they would call me in different ways, yeah.
So could we have documentation of
No,
these
I
WhatsApps?
will not give you my WhatsApp, no.
The Commission has the right to subpoena all documents, Mr. Ramkalawan.
Madam Chair,
Do you want me to issue a formal subpoena for those, or are you voluntarily going to give me those documentation to prove that your visits had nothing to do with securing inducements or payments for Assomption?
I am not here to be, this is not an inquiry.
It
My
is.
presidency.
Unfortunately, it is. It's how you.
So this is what it is.
It is.
Finally.
It is how you dealt with the Assomption
Okay.
project. It's part of our terms of reference.
Finally, I know why I am here. Finally,
Could you please wait a minute?
you
I
have
will read
revealed
you.
it. Okay.
3.7. Okay, so 3.8, 3.7, whether I'll just give you the F. If any undue payments, bribe, kickbacks, or other illicit benefits are found to have been made to establish the source, the destination, the routing of such payments, bribes, kickbacks, or other illicit benefits, and to identify the individuals and entities who have solicited, received, or benefited from them. That is why I have told you, I warned you, I had to ask you uncomfortable questions. That's why I'm putting these questions to you. There is nothing that is not comfortable. So in that case, will you give me the documentation that I'm requiring to prove that there was nothing illicit? Everybody else has given it to us. No, I'm asking you for your WhatsApps and for your emails to prove that these were official invitations that you attended representing Seychelles. That's what I'm asking you.
Okay, I don't know.
You will give it to us? Okay, thank you. No, I'm not going to put in the public record. You just have to confirm it for me. Yeah, thank you.
Tout ça bon, well, si je donc là aussitôt.
Accommodation, flights, and the purpose of the meeting, the documentation for that. We can give you the list and we can do it
Give me the
officially.
list.
Okay.
Give me the list.
It will be then easier for you to identify it.
Yes.
Do you hold bank accounts in any other countries apart from Seychelles?
Mauritius and, in fact, UK and Finifec.
UAE?
No.
Could you please provide all your bank accounts to us for the years 2023 to 2025?
This is all part, you can ask the CCS because it's all part of my declaration of assets.
I'm asking you for all bank accounts
Yes.
and all your bank statements from the years 2023 to 2025. If you could provide these to the Commission.
Yes.
Thank
Okay.
you. So, Mr. Ramkalawan, thank you for your cooperation today. And now, if you have anything to say that will help the Commission's work, I'm inviting you to contribute in any way that you might.
Mon cause en créole.
I will speak in Creole.
Moi, vie premièrement, dit avec commission,
I want, first of all, to tell the Commission
qui peut dire Wevel John Charles from Calawan,
that Wevel John Charles Ramkalawan
in service à pays
has served this country
avec loyauté.
with loyalty.
Moi, pas ne prends aucun gousse
I
avec
never
personne.
took any bribe from anyone.
Moi, pas involved dans aucune action corruption.
I've not been involved in any corrupt action.
Ça qui m'ont fait, c'est travail pour sa pays.
What I have done is work for this country.
En ce qui concerne sa posée Assomption,
As the Assumption project is concerned,
tout quelque chose est fait d'après la loi.
everything was done by the law.
projet in principalement gagne fait entre IDC avec ban développeur.
The project was between IDC and the developers.
C'est eux qui mettent l'expression de l'intérêt
They put the expression of interest,
et c'est eux qui
And it-
aussi fait tout bon procédure
and it is them who followed all the procedures,
et gouvernement il simplement donne permission pour ça poser.
and the government simply gave the permission for the project to go ahead.
Il y en a une quantité d'accusations
There have been many accusations
par
by
président actuel
By
Dr. Emini dans son campagne politique.
the President, Dr. Emini, in his political campaign,
Quand il y en a 50 millions de dollars qui ont donné,
where $50 million is alleged to have been given.
tout ça là, c'est des bonnes accusations
All these
qui
are just
pas capables
accusations
d'éprouver.
that have not been supported.
Accusation même quand il dit qu'il a mis Cap Vert
The accusation is even that money has been put in Cape Verde,
et jusqu'à présent, moi pas avoir aucune
and
évidence.
until now I haven't seen any evidence.
Et même si moi mon gars est accusé,
And even if I have been accused,
jamais mon désal Cap Vert.
I have never been to Cape Verde.
Mon gars est accusé comme quoi,
I've been accused as if
moi mon donne l'ordre.
I gave orders,
Mais moi va dire qui ça veut dire donne l'ordre.
but I will tell you what it is to give orders.
Donne l'ordre pour interférer dans le travail en commission.
To give orders to interfere in the commission
C'est le temps
is when
un président,
a president,
et ça y est lié directement avec posé Assomption,
and that has got to do with the project in Assomption,
le temps dans un speech,
In a
le
speech
13,
on
le 14 novembre
14th of November
2025,
2025.
il dit on a aussi établi plusieurs commissions d'enquête.
He says he's established many commissions of
Et
inquiry
bonne commission d'enquête pour établir bonnes circonstances,
and the commissions to establish the circumstances,
la construction salutaire de
the
Assomption,
construction of the hotel in Assumption,
dans l'endroit biosécurité très sensible.
in an area of sensitive biosecurity.
Sa commission pour être dirigée par ancien chef Madame Mathilde
That
Atoumé.
commission will be directed by Mathilde Atoumi.
Et là, il a côté dans l'ordre.
And this is where he's giving an order.
Mon aussi demande Planning
I
Authority
have also asked the Planning Authority
et ministère de l'Environnement
and the Ministry of Environment
pour immédiatement
to immediately
issue un stop notice.
issue a stop notice.
Et ça, il a fait.
And that has been done.
Ça, il est temps
That, to me,
un président,
is when a president
il pas respecter
Doesn't
aucune
respect
autorité
any
et
authority,
il dit lui-même
and he says himself,
qu'il peut dire il donne l'ordre
then he says that he's given an order,
et l'ordre il va suivre.
and the orders have been followed.
Madame commissionnaire,
Mrs. Commissioner,
moi, jamais
I have never
fait
Made
bonne action pareille.
such actions.
Moi, je aussi dire qu'il
I also want to say,
est clair
it's clear
pour moi
for me
et pour le public
and the public
qui peut dire sa commission d'enquête.
that the Commission of Inquiry
Et façon,
is a method.
je connais que on dit pas un witch hunt.
I know you said it's not a witch hunt.
Pour moi,
For me,
it's a witch hunt.
it's a witch hunt.
Et qui, la
And,
façon qui quelque chose est déroulé,
and the way things have gone on
est clair.
is clear.
Et en plus qui ça,
And on top of it,
sa commission, la façon qui est déroulée, il montre clairement, pour moi,
it shows clearly for me
qui m'ont vu pareil
that I've become
accusé d'un
Unaccused.
case murder.
in a case of murder,
Comme si mon dernier témoin.
that I'm the last witness,
Yes.
Thank
Après
you.
qu'il tourne, dit,
that
qui
everything
après,
has been
comme si
said.
mon pour regarder, si mon qui mon pour dire.
Thank you.
Et alors,
As if it's been left for me. I wanted you to have the final say, to have the whole allegations put before you, to be fair, Mr. Ramkalawan.
Yes.
You don't recognize that? Do you not recognize that? That's the way we do things, because I had to
Oui, oui.
personally look into
Oui, oui.
what you had done. So
Oui.
I had to bring all the
et
evidence to you.
finalement, tout ça ben quelque chose qu'il a fait, c'est
And all the things that have been
pour
done
diriger le moi.
to direct at you. to be directed towards me.
Yes. Et c'est exactement ça qui est arrivé.
And that's exactly what has happened.
Mais moi envie de dire avec le peuple c'est loi.
I want to tell
Qui m'ont tout le temps mon commence avec moi la tête
I will always walk with my
bien
head
haut
held high,
et qui m'ont
And-
fier pour
and
ça
I'm-
qu'ils m'ont fait pour sa pays.
and I'm proud of what I've done.
Et mon coin qui vous dit ça poser leur Assomption.
And I think the project in Assomption
Tout en considération.
will take everything into
Son
consideration,
biosécurité, biodiversité et tout ça là.
biodiversity and everything else.
C'était une bonne décision.
It was
que
a
ça
good
gouvernement
decision that this government took.
prend. Et moi, je dis avec le peuple, c'est loin. Mon pas un gousse
And I
avec
want to
personne.
tell everybody, the whole people of Seychelles, I did not take a break. I think you've said that already. We
Tout
have that
sa
noted.
bonne accusation, mon père appelle.
All these
Tout sa bonne
accusations.
monde qui fait toute accusation.
I'm asking all the people who made the
Un
accusations,
par un,
one by one,
pour venir devant
to come forward.
et pour faire sa bonne accusation encore. Et là,
Well, we don't
présent.
have the time for them
Et
to come
là,
again.
non.
I've heard them, they've sent me their
Ouais. Mais
reports.
des boutons publics et fait toute sa bonne accusation. Et un par un, là, qui m'ont sorti comme président, n'a pas joué
No,
en
this is different. I'm not concerned with accusations towards you, Mr. Ramkalawan. I am directing a commission of inquiry. I am looking at my terms of reference only. Thank you.
N'a pas problème, ça.
Thank you.
N'a pas problème.
Thank you.
Et
To be clear, what we have put before you, which I thought would be the fairest way, would be to put all the documentation we have received, which I have given you, and to put to you the testimony of all the witnesses. This is what I have done, Mr.
Mhm.
Ramkalawan. Okay?
Okay.
I indicated at the very start I had no other agenda apart from putting to you what
Yes,
has been
which you did.
Yes.
Which you did, and these were fair.
Thank you. I think we will stop here
Okay.
for
good.
today, and I must thank you for
Mhm.
having come and having cooperated with us, especially speaking in English, because I'm running out of the ability to translate back and forth. So I
Okay.
appreciate that you
Yeah.
testified in English.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
And
you.
I also had the opportunity to speak in Creole.
Yeah.
Exactly pareil. You commission these rules and
Yeah.
that's very okay. But
Thank you. Thank you.
good.
Thank you. Have
Thank
a
you
good
very
day.
much. Okay.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
Bye.
Just
Those documents, Papu.
a public announcement. We will not be taking any more witnesses. We will not be taking any more witnesses for the commission. The rest, I mean, in terms of live testimony, the rest of the commission will consist of interrogatories being sent out. There could be further interrogatories sent out to witnesses who have already testified based on the evidence that have come today and also as a result of testimony already given, things that we have to clarify or documentation that we need. Those witnesses will receive their interrogatories and they'll be told how to carry out the instructions to make sure that the Commission has all the documentation and all the facts it needs to be able to report on the 8th of June 2026. I want to thank SBC who have been very helpful in terms of making this accessible to the public. I also want to thank Marie-Claire, the Court of Appeal reporter, who is doing her best to type up and correct the transcripts for us. I also wish to thank my secretary for all the help and assistance that she has given me. Thank you.